And closing out the prelims, we got perennial heavyweight contender Curtis Razor Blaydes rolling the dice here, accepting this fight against Rizvan Kuniev. And he's in a weird position, Blaydes, because he's fought and beaten a lot of the established UFC contenders, but every time he's faced champ material opponents, he's lost. And he finally got that chance to fight for UFC gold in his last fight versus Tom Aspinall, and that took him 18 UFC fights to get to that opportunity, and he got knocked out in 1 minute. So really tough for Blaydes there, and he's also been knocked out by Francis Ngannou twice. Sergey Pavlovich, Derek Lewis knocked him out. But 13-5 in the UFC, you have to have a lot of standout performances, and that's why this is such a risk taking on Rizvan Kuniev, because Kuniev is a fighter who's beaten top competition outside the UFC, hasn't lost since 2015, hasn't lost too many rounds. But this is his first UFC fight, and he's had issues with drug test failures, hasn't had too much action recently, also isn't a big name. And if Blaydes loses this fight, it's going to really tumble him down the rankings because he's taking on a fighter that's difficult to beat and dangerous, but someone that nobody knows. And simultaneously, that loss would definitely, or that win would definitely throw Kuniev to the top of the division. But Kuniev, he's a fast heavyweight, good jab. He'll look to land counter check hooks. He'll also mix in some nice leg kicks. His 1-2s are fast, and he's actually pretty effective when he lets his hands go. He has no issue being patient and using his speed. He'll pull fighters in and then land. There isn't anything particularly spectacular about his striking, but he's technical, and for heavyweight, he's proficient enough. He doesn't really possess big power or explosiveness. I've seen fights where he gets clipped with some 1-2s and big shots and looks a little slow, but he has a good chin, good composure, and he tends to do really well in that dirty boxing range where he can work the knees, the elbows. He finished with an elbow in his last fight, and he just clinches guys against the fence. He could zap you. He tends to go single leg there on top of having the good knee game. And I doubt he's going to really try to wrestle Blaydes. And if he does, I mean, I think it's not going to be a smart game plan ultimately. But his last fight, he did defend some takedowns. He really hasn't had many fights against wrestlers that tried to take him down. And he does have good wrestling himself. So I feel like his wrestling defense will be serviceable. It's just, is it good enough to deal with Blaydes? One thing with Blaydes, though, as well, is recently he's been getting pushed and held against the cage and taken down, like versus Almeida. So I feel like Kuniev could potentially have some moments in the wrestling himself. He did have one brief time where he got swept and mounted versus Renan Ferreira. And if he gets put in a position like that against Blaydes, I think it would be really bad for him. So he needs to be very careful. But I think he could probably keep it standing depending. It's hard to say because it is difficult to know how good he really is as a wrestler. But I think he could push the pace. His conditioning is good. So if Blaydes takes him down, I don't think he has to be expecting just a quick finish like anything like that. But you look at Curtis Blaydes, he's one of the best wrestlers in UFC history, heavyweight history. His stand-up is on point. He has good pressure, feints, fakes. His speed is good. He'll stay in and out with the jab, the 1-2s. He'll mix in his takedowns, obviously, but he's good at landing crackback counters with the punches. And his durability has been an issue. If you connect on him, you can hurt him, but he's fast, he's evasive, he's hard to kind of track down. Good fakes and feints, and then if you get close to him, he's going to try to put you on your back. But he has great timing on the doubles. He's good at taking guys down against the fence. He has really nasty elbows on top. In this fight, I think he's the more powerful and athletic guy, Curtis Blaydes. He has the experience edge for sure. But Kuniev is more skillful on the feet, and he's more durable. His wrestling has to... wrestling has to be advantage Blaydes, but I'm not super sold he could take down Kuniev. I really feel like this fight could go either way. Blaydes could win with the wrestling exchanges, get on top, but if he's unable to get it to the mat, I could see Kuniev being slightly better on the feet, being better in that dirty boxing range. And Kuniev isn't a heavy hitter, but I think anyone who lands clean on Blaydes can hurt him. And Kuniev may be able to land a jab and flash him or a big shot. And I could see a knee sneaking in maybe too. So I'm going with the upset here. I'm going to say Kuniev wins this one second round knockout, and I'm going to go with Rizvan Kuniev.